I'm Sophie Morales and this is Sophie's Tips. Today I'm gonna give you my recipe for chocolate cookies, which I'm gonna make using a stand mixer from KitchenAid and a Gourmet Food Station air fryer. If you don't have these appliances, don't worry, you can still follow the recipe using a hand mixer or even by hand, and you can use a conventional oven or any air fryer that you have. It's a really easy recipe to follow. Let's get started, but before we do, don't forget to subscribe for more tips and videos like this. The first thing we're going to do is mix our dry ingredients. For this, we need another bowl. I always recommend using a strainer to get a better cookie texture. So let's grab a strainer. We'll add 1 cup or 142 grams of all-purpose flour, then 1/4 of a cup or 33 grams of cocoa powder. Next, we'll add half a teaspoon or 2 grams of baking soda and half a teaspoon or 2 grams of salt. Now that all of our dry ingredients are in, let's mix them really well until you notice the color changing to a light brown. You shouldn't see any white patches, just a nice, even light brown. That's when you know it's ready. Set this aside and now we'll move on to our wet ingredients using the mixer. First, we'll add 1 stick or 113 grams of unsalted butter at room temperature. So it should be soft. We'll start by whipping just the butter. I set the mixer to a medium speed around level 2, and you'll see the butter fluff up and slightly change color, turning a bit whiter. This will depend a lot on the temperature of where you are. Now let's add the sugar. 150 grams or 3/4 of a cup, and turn the mixer back on. This will help everything blend and become even fluffier. If you're using a hand mixer, the process is pretty much the same. And if you're doing this by hand, you'll just need to adjust the mixing time a bit to get the right consistency. Next, we're adding an egg, about 55 grams if you weigh it. I always crack my egg in a separate bowl just in case it's bad. That way I won't ruin my mixture. Now we'll also add a teaspoon or 5 grams of vanilla extract. Give the egg and the vanilla a quick stir before adding them to the mixer. Once added, increase the speed to a level 3 or 4 to help it emulsify, meaning that the egg fully blends with the butter for a smooth texture. Now it's time to add our dry ingredients. This does not need much mixing. I usually mix them separately and then give the mixer just 3 or 4 turns on the lowest speed before finishing by hand. This prevents gluten from forming and keeps the cookies crispy. As soon as you see it coming together into a dough, stop mixing. Finish folding everything with a spatula, making sure all the dry ingredients are fully incorporated. There might be a little flour around the edges, but that's fine. You'll mix that in with the spatula. Now the dough is ready. Next, we'll wrap it in a plastic wrap, forming a ball, and place it in the fridge to chill for at least 30 minutes. This step is super important. It's part of the baking process. Chilling the dough helps the cookies get the right texture. Don't skip it. After 30 minutes, our dough is nice and cold, so we can start shaping our cookies. But first, we need to preheat the air fryer. If your air fryer does not have a preheat function, just set it to 325 degrees Fahrenheit or 162 degrees Celsius for 5 minutes. If you're using the Gourmet Food Station, select Bake and Preheat at 325 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. If you're using a conventional oven, increase temperatures to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius, and the baking time will be slightly longer, around 12 to 14 minutes. Now, let's shape our cookies. Using the dough, form balls that weigh around 45 grams or about 2 tablespoons each. This recipe makes about 10 cookies. If you weigh them precisely, you'll get exactly 10. But if not, you might end up with an extra one. After weighing them, around 45 to 48 grams each, I like to smooth out the edges into a rounder shape. This makes them look more uniform and prettier. If you don't do this, they'll still bake fine, but the shape might be a little odd. Be careful not to handle the dough too much though, because warming it up too much can affect the cookie texture. Once the air fryer beeps, signaling it's ready, place 5 cookies inside. I like to put them on parchment paper to make them easier to remove and to keep the bottoms looking nice. If you don't have parchment paper, that's fine. You can bake them directly on the tray. The trick to knowing when these cookies are done is watching the tops. They'll start cracking, forming little lines and cracks. That's when they're ready to come out of the oven or the air fryer. After 10 minutes, this is what they look like, cracked on top, perfectly baked. Now take out the basket and let the cookies cool inside for 10 minutes. This step is crucial because they continue to cook internally as they cool down. For decoration, while it's still warm, I like to sprinkle a little sugar on top. Here you have them, chocolate cookies made in the Gourmet Food Station air fryer. Tell me in the comment section down below what happened. Did you make the recipe? Did you like them? Did you freeze some? Did you put some in the fridge? I love reading your comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe to receive notifications every time I post a new video. See you soon. Ciao!